Our lesson topic is managing resources. A very, very, very powerful topic. It's one place that majority of people, no matter how educated, no matter how skilled, no matter how knowledgeable they think, have failed. Resources. Managing resources, lesson number 20. The memory verse is taken from Matthew chapter 25, verse 16. The passage is taken from Genesis chapter 39, verse 2 to 4. We have 4 verses, the 3 verses that we just taken one each. But let's go to the memory verse first. Matthew 25, verse 16. Let's read it together. I want to go.
When
He that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents. Matthew 25, 16. One more time. And he that had traded the 5 talents went and traded with the same and made them other 5 talents. Matthew 25, 16. That is a very, very familiar lesson. It's a parable, but a big. And you can apply it in various other ways. Let's go to the lesson, the reading passage, Genesis 39, 2 to 4. Let's just read one. Let's read together, everybody, because it's just short. Let's go together. And the Lord was with Joseph,
and he was a prosperous man,
and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and made him overseer over his house, and all that he had, he put in his hand. You remember, we read, this topic was part of our lesson last week, and if you just oppose it with Daniel, it's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing, but two different people. When the lesson talked about excellence, it used these 2 characters also to explain why we have to maintain excellence. What we just read in those 3 verses is exactly what we read in the different, this happened generations after. Hundreds of years after this event. So, we will see that resources in general are anything that is useful and adds value to life. This could be air, water, metals, mineral, animal, plant, human. God in his mercies has endowed every society with human and natural resources, which enables them to produce the goods and services needed for their survival and prosperity. Resources can be grouped into 3: capital resources, natural resources, and human resources. Our focus in this lesson is on how to effectively manage the resources that surround us. So we see capital, we see human, and we see natural. And if you look at all of these, they mean totally different things. Capital will be like monetary and other things. You know, the human will be intangible things. Capital is tangible, natural is tangible. Those are things you could see. But human resources is something you cannot see. Those are the virtues, skills, gifts that God has bestowed on us. Natural resources is the beauty and the qualities and the goodies of the land. The land has fruits, oil, gold, diamond, name it, wood, coal, air, water, fish, animals. You know, those are things that God has given to us to manage, not to abuse. To manage, not to abuse. We see how Joseph, in a house of a foreigner, showed the excellent spirit in him. By showing the, well, because one thing we don't get is that sometimes we just assume that things happen by luck and don't understand that a lot of things happen by deliberate training and conditioning. When you don't condition yourself to certain things, you do not know how to maintain certain elements that God has given to you. Conditioning meaning that you deliberately want to stay in a certain way that is positive. Not because there are no negatives. There are negatives in our lives, in our surroundings. But what do you choose to focus on? When you choose to focus on negativity, you will always be faced with negativity no matter how good it appears. So when God has bestowed certain things to you, it doesn't mean that your life is perfect. Your life is never perfect. Your life is perfect because you choose to live in contentment. Not because it is perfect per se. Because there are things you lack. There are things you want, but things you don't need, but you want. There are temptations. There are challenges around you. From the time Joseph was born, you will realize that he will just be talking to his brothers and they will be teasing him. Even though he didn't understand what was going on in his life, just like Samuel. When Samuel was with Eli, the same thing he didn't understand when God was calling him. Same thing, Joseph was telling his brothers, but they were teasing him. But he did not relax. He did not stay discouraged. Those are the negativities and the setbacks. Even while he got into Potiphar's house, Potiphar's wife created her own stress in his life. But he stayed focused. Because one, he realized too that he had that excellent spirit and he had to maintain it. We read last Sunday, we studied last Sunday. That's why you see when we do a lesson, and I thank God for the lives of the writers of our Sunday school lessons in the last 2 years. They have found a way to link our lessons so that at the end of the day we understand better. So that's why I try always to go back and recap the lesson we did so that we can understand what we are going to. Joseph knew that he had to maintain excellence. And while maintaining excellence, God prospered him. Remember when the people were reporting Daniel, there is a man who has the spirit of the gods. That was what the report was. That report only comes when you maintain excellence. By maintaining excellence, people will now start to see the fruits of your excellent spirit. So Daniel prospered by virtue of the maintenance of his excellence. Then the Lord over his house, because when things are going well with you, irrespective of what is thrown at you, the person that is supposed to be your supervisor or your boss is watching. And sometimes the devil deliberately makes them to offend you, but it's how you respond. And they are saying that, wow, no matter what is true. Sometimes they try to see if you are doing something. You know, when we serve God, sometimes we serve God based on what we ask for. Because the Bible says, if that will diligently hearken, you say, okay, because I want God to live, let me for this month diligently hearken. As if you think God does not know the intentions. But you have to do it with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. So Daniel was doing what he was doing with all his heart, and the boss was happy. It is possible too. You know, sometimes you have to permutate. The boss is be aware that the wife wants to tend to Joseph because he never even addressed it. You understand? And sometimes people deliberately throw things quietly behind to test. But you will think that person is not linked to the person. They will go and find somebody you don't know and you never seen with them. You'll be shocked. It could be true that he was aware to test Joseph. You know, possible, it will not be possible. even though at the end of the day, he was accused. Really? Then you say, okay, let's press him with this next one. Since he didn't fail in this one, let's put him in prison. If he will break. Let's see if we can break in. Because that is the devil at work. Devil knows when you're on the right path, he knows what God plans for his children. He may not know the exact plan, but he knows God always has good plans for his children. So the devil will do what he needs to do to derail him. And that was why he tempted Joseph. He said, Joseph prospered in his master's house because God was with him. He made his master to favor him and appoint him, just like that he appointed Daniel. Then we have two outlines. One says managing capital and natural resources. Capital and natural resources are our care. In our care must be properly accounted for. There are people who have these things, who are given things and just use them without paying attention to how they are using these things. They forget that it will be required of you. According to the lesson we read, the man who got 5 talents in our memory verse went and traded it, and it yielded more fruits. This shows a high level of responsibility in making sure that resources are fully maximized. Resources are to be properly controlled and used. According to Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. Genesis chapter 1, 28 to 30. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. This was Adam and Eve. And subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowls of the air, and every living thing that moveth upon the earth. 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of the earth. I have given you every herb bearing seed, because seed is to be planted. When you plant a seed, you reap a reward. You get back the same fruit over and over and over. Somebody will cut a yam. Yam is tubers. Apart from cassava, are some of the fruits that you have to plant itself to get itself. Some will eat the tuber that is supposed to plant and eat it with the whole crop. At the end of the day, during the planting season, they have nothing to plant. And every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. If you want, you keep referencing seed, seed, seed. He gave them fruits that have seeds. He didn't give them empty fruits. Why did he give them fruits? He gave them fruits to eat and enjoy. But he also gave them fruits with seeds, so that when they finish eating the fruits, they can replant and replenish. If you remember, I say replenish. That was how it started. Replenish. So these are what we call natural resources. Money is a capital resources and must be spent wisely and multiplied through investments, according to Matthew 25:16. That Matthew 25 started with the man who wanted to go on a journey and started to give talents to his servants. Some planted, some did not. Some planted and yielded different results. And according to the level of your faith and your confidence and your risk-taking ability, you are able to invest a certain amount to yield a certain amount. Resource management, let me go back. Money is capital resources and must be spent wisely and multiplied through investment. There is abusing resources through any form of wastage is gross indiscipline and disservice to humanity. Any kind of resources, you waste food. It's like wasting money. You have food that is good to eat, but you choose to throw it away. You have food you could give to somebody and you choose to throw it away, or you let it spoil. I used to go to the market sometimes, and sometimes I want to buy certain fruits or food, and I'll see that the food is not as I want it, but it's something I could use. But I don't think it qualifies to be sold at this price. And you try to ask the person, but this is not like it used to be. Why are you still selling it the same amount? The person wants to gain 100% of. Probably they have reaped the benefit, but they still want to take advantage of the fact that probably they are the only ones still having it. In the end, that food will rotten. Tomatoes, plantain, those are good examples. Plantain is already ripe. You want to sell it for $10 a pound. Meanwhile, everybody else is selling for $8. You can't reduce it to 7 or 6 to encourage people to buy. You want to sell it for 10. You keep, because you started with 10, you want to maintain 10 until the thing rotten in your hand. By the time you are leaving the next morning, in the night, to go home, you will leave it by your shed because you can't carry it home anymore. Because it's coming with so much flies and stuff. May the Lord help us in Jesus' name. That is abuse of resources. Resource management also comes with a high level of integrity, irrespective of the number of resources in our care. We must be honest about the way we dispense them. According to 1 Samuel chapter 12, verse 3. Give me 1 Samuel 12, 3. 1 Samuel 12, 3. Behold, there I am with witness against me before the Lord and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Or whose ass have I taken? Or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed? Or whose hand have I received any bribe to blind mine eyes therewith? And I will restore it to you. So now this is accountability. I think it's David speaking here. Samuel. Who's. So if I have taken anything from you, tell me. If I have offended you, tell me. Because in his mind, I have not taken anything that is not mine. I have not overspent what I have not been asked to spend. I have not done what I have not been required of me. We need to know, it is expedient that we take proper care and be productive with the resources in our spheres of influence. Our spheres of influence, our home, our office. You are in a committee, you are in any organization. Maybe you are the treasurer, or you are the financial secretary, you are the president, or you are the secretary. But you are influential in that place. You need to take care of whatever is put in your hand. Then we need to know that we are holding forth for any resource in our care. We shall all give accounts. At one point in time, that was what Samuel was now doing. If I have taken anything from you, tell me, and I will restore. I will restore. I don't know if you have any question, or if we can mention ways in which you can manage a business capital. A business capital. That's one of the questions in our lesson today. Mention ways how we can manage a business capital. Before we go into lesson number 2, the outline number 2. How do you manage a business capital? Anybody want to respond, please? You know what they call business capital? Money you used to start.
Let's say you were given 500 $50 to start a business, say selling pure water. that 500, the profit you make from it is not for your bread and sugar and tea at home. That money goes back into the business. So by next time you are going to do bulk purchase, by the time you would have made maybe a profit of $200 on top, so that's 700. You put back that 700 into the business. And for those who are aspiring to go into business, if you begin to take out of the business capital for other things, you are eating your seed.
Exactly.
You are eating your seed, and in no time, the business will pack up. So we must be prudent, you must be wise, you must ask God to link you up. You know, in going into business, you need connections. You need good counsel from those who have gone before. So, and you must be diligent, you must be focused, so that your seed does not die in your hand.
Amen. You have literally said everything. Knowledge is also very important in business. When you don't know the business you want to go into, you will spend your capital wrongly. One thing people, you know, while you are doing business also, you have seen your account growing. Account growing is not for you to start to think of what to spend. That is the time you remember something you want to buy or something you need. No. It's the time to now expand your business. Because the more you expand, the more income you get. The same way the memory verse says, he invested the whole 5. He knew what he was going into. And he invested it and he doubled. But when you see your account have $100, you want to use $70 to buy something that does not concern your business. The $30, you forget that you have what we call recurrent expenditures. Recurrent expenditures is your bills. Your bills are waiting for you. When you don't pay your bills, you lose your credit. When you lose your credit, you have no stock. Then you lack stock. When you have no stock, you have nothing else to sell. People come by you, they're looking for a product. You say we are wrong, we are out. They will go to somewhere else. When they get satisfied that place, they never come to you again. So people just see a business that their friend is doing. They have a little money, they throw the capital inside without having knowledge of that business. Sometimes, you see, Proverbs 6, go to the ant, his sluggard, and learn his ways. So you go to the man who is doing the clothing business and ask questions. Where do you buy this from? I remember one time somebody was complaining. I think a lady in the mall I was working, I wanted to buy something. So she was complaining that she wanted to close up. So I said, why do you want to close up? I wanted to buy something from my office that she has. So I said, why you want to close? You don't have to close up. So when I look at the place, I realize that sometimes the things they sell, if you don't have things that people readily would buy regularly, you will struggle. You know. So I was trying to suggest, I said, but why don't you try so and so and so place? You could all buy so. Because people like us who come to buy, there are certain things you are looking for. But at the end of the day, you say, yeah, I tried that one, I've done this, but I know she did it. And in the end, she closed up. Then she said she wants to go online to say, I said, nobody coming to buy from you online. Like that. If you struggle, then after a while, you want to now come and sell for another person at your spare time for free. That's foolishness. You understand what I'm saying? Or somebody who is in a particular business allows that business to die, then goes to the same business of another person and work for that person when you had your own to manage. Mommy made a good statement which people don't take into consideration. Go to people and be connected. Connection is what keeps business going. Relationship. If you fight everybody around your circle, you will suffer in business. Because it's people who know you first that will talk about you to their friends. Their friends will buy who don't know you and tell other people who also don't know you. And those people who don't know you will know you and tell other people who don't know you. It starts for people who know you. But when you begin to fight with everybody and you have a misunderstanding with everybody, you don't have the connection. 1. 2, when they give you information, be patient. I always say it. Dream big, but start small. Because there is room for growth. We must grow. But if God gives you capital, don't go and put the capital 100% in a business. Put a portion of the capital and reserve some for what we call recurrent expenditures. Because you will put some for like a 3-month period. Because you have to pay somebody or you have to pay some bills. You can't put the whole 100%. Inside that capital also contains the recurrent expenditures. Your capital expenditures is the one you use to go and buy goods. Your recurrent is the ones that you use to run the business. So you cannot just carry everything, boom. Because you may not sell. I remember when I went into business, the first 3 years was a stretch. And COVID came. It was not easy. It was not easy. I could tell anybody business. Because I went into business just a year or 2 years before COVID. And I started from zero. When I started, Daddy and Mommy were there. I didn't have frames. I didn't have frames. People will walk into my office and just check. Is this all you have? Is this all you have? Until God brought somebody who said, I will stock everything you want. Tell me. Up to posters. He made my own posters for me. From America. From Miami. A company in Miami. I went to one company. Give me supplies. You have to buy over 20-something thousand US. This is me starting. If I have 20-something thousand US, you think that my office will be empty? I don't even need up to 10,000 to stock the whole place. I don't even need up to 5,000 to stock the whole place. US. But I have to have bought something from them up to 5,000 I have to have bought from them. Which is equivalent to almost 30-something TT dollars. Close to 40-something, 40 TT. And I didn't have up to 10. Until God brought somebody. I spoke with him. And he came, visited, and looked at the place. And I said, I guarantee you, and I assure you, I will buy from you all the time. Even when God gave me another connection to go outside there, and I went, I still continue to buy from him. He was in my office a few days ago. He just sometimes now, he comes, even when I'm not buying, to just have a chat. Spend half an hour and he will go. That is how we are doing. Even tell me, when you come to Miami, tell me, I will house you. Relationship is very, very, even when I needed a loan, I went to a few people I knew, and they were using my business like basketball and football. And thank God, there's a lady I used to know when I was in Port Augusta. When I opened my account, I think she was my banker. Because I kept going to her if I have a problem. So then she started to switch office until so if I need something, I will ask her. So she said, I'm not in this place anymore. If you want to come to the branch, I could speak to the loans officer for you. I will go. So that I became friends with every loan officer that deals with me. So after a while, she was there, but my loan officer, an African fellow, an older fellow, but he was very good to me. He would give me all the breakdowns and I would go. Until I needed a loan one day, nobody could help me. I called her, but she could not help me. But after like 3 months, I got a call. I have been made the manager. I could give you some within so and so and so. It's to be enough for you to start. I run. I didn't walk like Johnny Walker. I run like you say boat.